This episode is brought to you by Americas Rehab Campus. Get on the road to recovery with the best rehab in beautiful Arizona. Dial 1-833-272-7342. That's 1-833-ARC-REHAB.
Ladies and gentlemen, you are now tuned in to the Archer.
Go. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of the Arcast. My name is Buddha, and today, man, I want to get started with this. Me and my brother been sitting here in the studio for a little bit, chopping it up. I finally had to just stop and be like, hey, dog, let's put these headphones on. Let's start getting this conversation going. I want to make sure you guys get a chance to be a part of it. Ladies and gentlemen, this man needs no introduction. Give a huge round of applause to my homeboy, Ryan. Yeah, dog.
What's up, everybody? How y'all doing?
Man, it's so good to see you, dog.
Man, it's a blessing to see you on this side of the fence.
That's crazy.
Like, in my terms, like
Absolutely.
I'm not attending, you know what I mean? I'm here to kick it. I'm here to see my homie.
Hey, did anyone see you when you came up to the front? That's got to be a weird feeling.
Oh, yeah. I think Victoria and John, the VHTs.
Yeah.
They're like, your name sounded familiar. I said, well, little things change, but.
Yeah, man. No, I mean, it's crazy. I mean, seeing you, dude, like, that's my favorite thing. Such a blessing to be able to walk into the front lobby and to see, like, the light in people. You know what I'm saying? It's beautiful. You definitely got a light. He's got a shirt right now that says, be the light. We're going to make sure we take a picture. You guys can check it out.
Yeah, man. It's a blessing to be able to walk back in here and be thankful.
Yeah.
That I was able to come to a place like this and have the opportunity that I had. Because it was a blessing.
Dope, man. That's so awesome. Well, what have you been up to?
Man, I've been following the Lord's path right now in my life. I've been letting His will be done.
Wow.
I actually, when I left here, I went and just immersed myself with my faith, with good people. One thing I've done that we refuse to do now is I don't let no negative, no bad vibes. Mm-hmm. Granted, there's going to be people that have them, but I X those people out of my life. So I've been kicking it with nothing but good people, church people. My brother and I, you know, we kick it. We ride our motorcycles.
Your brother too?
Yeah,
that's cool.
Not the other brother. We have one that's still lost, but we'll reach him. You know, in due time. It's the Lord's time, not ours. And
absolutely,
it took 15 years, really 17 hard years for me.
Really, 17 years.
17.
Well, man, I want to dive deeper into what you're doing now, but, you know, following the format of the Arcast, let's go back.
Yeah,
I want to go back. Yeah,
okay.
Where are you from, man? Are you from here?
I was born in Tucson and then moved to Pittsburgh and spent my childhood in Pittsburgh.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah,
you Steelers fan?
Yes, sir.
Oh, that's what's up.
Hey, come on now.
I didn't know that. That's cool. Yeah. So you were born here in Tucson?
Yes, sir.
And then you moved to Pittsburgh?
Yeah.
Well, and how old were you when that happened?
I was 3-4 years old, and right around there.
Okay, all right. And you have any siblings growing up? How many siblings?
I do. I got a big family, so I'm one of 7.
One of 7. Dang, bro, big family.
Yes, sir.
That's what's up. Are you Mexican? You look Mexican.
I'm Mexican and Irish.
Mexican and Irish. Yeah. Okay, I can't tell, dog. But no, that's cool. And so what made you guys want to move out there in Pittsburgh at such a young age?
It was mom and dad divorced.
Okay.
Mom met a man that was here in Arizona doing Davis Mothman. He was an Air Force man.
Oh, okay.
And
so she was here first.
Mom and dad lived here. Mom both raised and grew up here. Never left.
Okay.
Mom met a man after her and dad's divorce, and he was from Pittsburgh, just stationed here.
Oh, okay.
So his orders were ended. His enlistment was ended, and we traveled back to Pittsburgh. Took us like a year to get there because we stopped in North Carolina or Tennessee, and lived with my aunt and uncle.
Okay.
Who were military as well for a while, and then eventually made it back to the East Coast in Pittsburgh.
Okay, so you spent all of your childhood pretty much in Pittsburgh, went to school there?
Yeah, until 13.
Okay, so around middle school.
Yep.
How were you in school? Were you a good student?
I was a good student when I applied myself.
Yeah.
When I applied myself, I had the brains and the power to do it. I like to do more of the class clown, more of the, rebel activity, which ended up biting me in the butt years later. That led me to the path of which led you and I to meet, because it's all those characteristics and those behaviors, right? So I was a smart kid, never had, but just you know what I mean? So,
yeah.
And learning now throughout my years of trying to, I always tell people I used to try to get sober. Now I did it. Trying is the action of doing something.
Yeah.
Doing it is doing it. Trying is the thought process, the thought process of doing something. Because if you're trying, you're not really putting effort. I used to use that excuse, I'm trying to get sober. So no, that wasn't how it ended up when I thought processed that way. So changing my vocabulary. So I learned through coming here that all of these events are what leads to where we are.
That's real.
Right? Like, I didn't get to where I was at overnight.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't get to be addicted to over 125 fentanyl pills a day.
A day, bro.
Mixed.
Oh, we're going to get into it.
Mixed in some other, you know what I mean? Without having to take it back to those points.
Yeah.
The younger Ryan, to get to where, like, oh, okay, now I see why my brain does that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's cool. Hey, bro, talk about impeccable with your word. Like you said, when I applied myself, I did good. That's a huge thing. I mean, that takes somebody going back and actually looking at, patterns and thinking about their life and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay, so when you applied yourself, you said at 13. So was it 13 when you guys finally moved back over here?
Yes. Yeah.
And why did you guys do that?
My mother battled addiction. My father was a drug dealer on a pretty big scale. That's one of the reasons Mom moved away from Tucson, because she felt as if she could escape her demon by running from it.
Yeah.
And I get where her train of thought was at the time. So Mom moves out to Pittsburgh. She's sober. She wasn't doing cocaine anymore, which was her drug of choice, alcohol, cocaine. She started to drink here and there, occasionally. And then Mom got into a DUI. Wasn't charged with a DUI, God's grace, but she totaled her truck.
Oh, man.
Was able to walk away totaled. I mean, the floorboard was at the seat of the truck. And no broken bones. I mean, nobody was hurt, thank God.
Yeah, thank God, man.
So then in that process, Mom, I didn't know it then, but I know it now, Mom was downward spiraling. So I go into her purse one time, find some coke.
How old are you?
11.
11 years old.
So I flipped, obviously. Said some things to my mother I should have never said to my mother, but I was hurt. My hurt came out as, now I'm mad. And so she called Pops, and Pops has always been there. We used to travel back and forth every year to come see him.
Oh, okay.
So Pops was always there. Good dude, They both had their struggles, but they're good people. So Pops was like, no, send them back to me. Like, bring them. They're now about to be, I was 11. My brother was 13.
Okay.
They're about to be young men. You can't teach them how to be a man. Send them back to me. So we came back here. Then I went back and forth for 2 years. I was a mama's boy. I was one of those kids. I was a shy kid. I was a mama's boy. And we struggled in school. Got to the point where my pops was like, dude, like, if you're just going to continue to do you, then maybe you can go back with your mom and see how where that gets you. And I went back there and I saw that Mom's life was still not where she wanted it.
Yeah.
She was, and it wasn't like Mom was completely out of, Mom still, it was the fact that she was even dibbling and dabbling again that I could see. And I think she knew that it was like, even if it was one time, she wasn't ready if my dad was at that point where he could be, to take care of us full time. So she sent us back here.
Okay.
And I learned in therapy. I do a lot of self-therapy, if that makes any sense. I have to look back and reflect, because nobody else can look back into my life.
Amen.
I have to. And that's a hard thing to do. I always tell people, the hardest spot for any man or woman to be is stuck in their own head, unless we know how to deal with those thoughts. And it's until recently I haven't known. So I learned these events created abandonment and codependency issues. At 3, I get ripped from my dad. Then I built such a bond with Mom. I was one of those, shy kid, hide behind Mom's legs. I wasn't outspoken, build a bond with Mom, and now I'm getting shipped back across the country on an airplane to my father.
Yeah.
There was never, I knew we would be okay with Pops and with Mom. Ultimately, they always made sure we were okay. But it was that unknown. My whole life is just now switched upside down. And that allowed, it helped me build up those, once I have you, I want to keep you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because I don't know if I'm going to lose you or lose this.
Yeah.
And those are just as toxic traits as a drug dependency or an alcohol dependency.
And as a kid, it's like it's nuts how you don't even realize that those things are being formed. You just start kind of thinking certain things and acting out in certain ways. You know, as far as your mom's boyfriend, was she still with the guy that was in the military type of thing?
Mom, of course, how I believe the enemy works, right? He comes to kill, steal, and destroy. So he started with mom's drug of choice, got her back into that. Mom started hanging out with seedy men to get the drugs. So now stepdad and her split up because she got with one of the men that she was getting the coke from, and he was a piece of work. Yeah.
I got you. Okay, now I wasn't sure. I was just curious, like as far as like the influence, if he helped, you know, any positive role model.
Oh, he was a man he didn't have to be. My mom's first husband, Bob, or second husband, I should say, my stepdad. He's who I consider my stepdad if I had to.
Yeah,
he was a good man. He was military. He's a mechanical engineer. Kind of grew up with us. He was younger than my mom by probably 8 or 9 years. So good man. He wasn't.
That's good, man.
Mom ended up messing that up.
You came back here. You're going back and forth. When was the first time that you started dabbling with substances? Do you remember that time?
That was I had my first drink when I was like 5 or 6 years old on a houseboat.
5 or 6 years old?
Me and my brother that I told you still lost. Him and I got into like a 30-pack of beer. We didn't drink it all, obviously, but we got into a beer.
Yeah.
They had, and they caught us drinking. They actually, somewhere there was a picture of it. Back then it was like, I grew up in the 80s, so it was cute. Like he wasn't drinking it. They didn't think.
You could still ride in the back of a truck without a seatbelt.
Bro, they still put whiskey in your gums when your gums hurt.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? So it wasn't like they were condoning it by any means. It was just one of those things like, look at him. He's holding grandpa's beer can.
Yeah, give that back, mijito.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. It wasn't like, look at him. Take a chug, boy. No. We, being traviesos, being mischievous,
Yeah.
So they will dabble throughout my... Smoked weed smoked cigarettes probably hit my first cigarette like 7 or 8.
Okay.
Had my first joint by 10 or 11.
10 or 11. What ended up happening to you like with school and stuff during this time? Were your grades and everything just starting to fail?
I was always able to keep it on the up and up because of my charm. I feel like I was able to kind of, you know what I mean? I would get the work done, but they'd let me turn it in late. I always tried to manipulate.
Okay.
I take notice of that now and have to always continue to push that away because I can use that for good or for evil. Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And I was master manipulator. So I would teach her, come on, and I would smooth my way through it. And I would turn my work in a month late and end up passing the class because but it wasn't the right way. It wasn't the way I should have been doing it.
Okay. And at what age do you feel like it started becoming a hindrance to you, like you're using? Do you remember how old you were when you started realizing that you had a problem? It wasn't just fun, dabbling, smoking every now and then?
It wasn't till, I had fun, like I said. It wasn't, not until, I played sports. I was a big athlete.
Oh, yeah?
I had regional championship here in Tucson, a state championship wrestler. We played football with some really good dudes. Yeah. So I was an athlete. My brother, when we came back, my brother was already into the gangbanging life, I'm a tough dude. I'm out here improving it. My brother was a scrapper our whole life.
He's older than you?
Yeah, he got almost 3 years on me.
Okay.
And
how old are you?
I'm 36.
36. I wonder if you know my wife's brother. He was a wrestler for Sunnyside.
What's his name?
His name's Adam Montijo.
How old is he?
He's around 36.
Bigger dude?
He's kind of a bigger dude, yeah, but he did football.
Is he our size?
Yeah, he's about my size. He's a little bit bigger.
I think I wrestled against
his
him
name
times.
His name is Adam.
Actually, ask him about me. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's the dude from Sunnyside. Me and him went back and forth.
Really?
He got me at my senior year of state. He ended up beating me.
Dude, I think that's crazy. He had a brother named Michael Montijo.
He's a big boy.
He's a big boy. Yeah. I can show you a picture of him. He had a brother named Michael Montijo and his sister, Eva.
Yeah.
That's my wife.
He beat me at state my senior year.
For real?
Yeah.
Dang, watch. I'm going to... You remember,
hey, we got something to settle, bro.
Adam, we're going to bring your ass down here, dude. Let me see. I'm going to show you a picture. That's crazy.
Oh, man. I'm pretty sure. I only know last names because in the wrestling bracket, that's how you see it, right?
Yeah.
So
I'll show you my wife here.
Pretty much sure.
This is This is me and my wife. That's Eva, his sister. Okay. And then Adam, let's see if I can fit his big ass head on this camera phone here. I might have to zoom out.
Have to zoom out. Ultra out.
Oh man, I love my brother-in-law.
You gotta love
man.
him though, right?
Let me see, where's he at? That's him right there.
Yep.
That's him? For real? That's crazy, dude.
Ask him. He knows me.
Yeah. All right, man. Yeah, that's him, bro. That's my brother-in-law.
Ask him.
That's crazy. So you guys went state against each other, huh?
I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was state. Yeah, him and I wrestled quite a few times.
Wow, that's great. My wife was just telling me about. She heard from a couple of the coaches because my son is doing
He's how old is he?
He's 30. He'll be 37 this year.
Yep,
in November.
Has to be him. It has to be.
Yeah,
he was a heavyweight.
Yeah. And apparently he was pretty good for his like
really
size
good.
And stuff.
Really good, actually.
Yeah.
You got me, that bastard.
That's crazy. I'm gonna have to bring that up. I can't wait, man. That's dope. So okay, so you went sports, you did football and everything too?
Yeah, I played football.
Okay.
Rode BMX in middle school when I was coming back and forth from Tucson to Pittsburgh. Dad got me. Dad's whole thing was, that's why I started. Dad's whole thing was my brother was a wild one. In the sense of like authority. He got to a point in life where he wanted to be his own dude, I guess. And so he just, all authority figures, and it stems from him going through his own trauma, right? Mm-hmm. So when he feels dad came back in like, man, I'm giving you this finger because I don't need authority.
Yeah.
So my brother got real big into, he was smoking weed. He was selling weed, I'm sure, hanging out with the homies. And when mom shipped us back, so we came back, my brother was was doing that same stuff here. And my dad was like, all right, he's the type of him, my dad, they'd get into it because my brother would just be like, I'm not listening. 1 o'clock in the morning, I'm coming home. My dad's like, no, you're not.
Yeah.
And they're now getting into it because my brother was that way at the time. So dad was like, you're going into sports. He put me into BMX. We grew up riding motorcycles, dirt bikes, quads, all that. So dad's like, no, you're going to go to sports. Like, so
That's cool.
First it was BMX. And then when I got to high school, it was football and wrestling.
All right.
So yeah.
That's crazy, man. That's so cool. I can't wait.
That's funny, bro. He's going to trip.
I can't even wait because they were just talking about, too, one of the dudes at the football where my son is, he plays for the 49ers in Sahuarita. And they were talking about how Adam was like such a good athlete. And one of the wrestlers, they said, was a big dude. He said it was a big dude, like that Adam held himself against him. They must have been referring to you,
Adam,
bro.
Yeah, he's good. He was very good because he's not very tall.
No, he's like my height.
He's maybe a little bit taller than you, maybe
About 5'10".
Yeah. And he was a thick boy. We're heavyweights. We're big boys. Yeah, he was good. Him and I both. We actually matched up well because of the way we moved, and we were good on our feet for big guys.
That's so dope, dude. I can't wait,
crazy.
man.
That's and then.
Hey, we were just talking about that this week, and my wife, I got like the shivers thinking about that. That's so cool, though, man. So, all right. So you got into sports. You still, influenced, I'm sure, by your older brother, other male figures that you had around you. You know what I mean?
I was in a weird turn of events. My brother moved back to Pittsburgh because he couldn't do what he did here. Dad wasn't allowing it. Mom was now divorced, living with her and a new man, the man that she had met through all the drug sales, dope dealing. Her and him were together now. So my brother knew he had free reign. I'm sure that's what he thought. I got more. He could do what he wanted more over there. Here, my dad was still on his butt. Like, you ain't gonna do what you want. Now, my brother still would, but my dad was still there to enforce it. So he moved back. Funny that you mentioned. I never thought about that till right now. Like, my dad and my brother. Those are the heroes, right? Like, when my dad wasn't there, not by choice, but because mom took us across the nation. Yeah. My brother was the one who taught me how to ride a bike, throw a football, certain things like that. So my brother and my dad were in the same category to me almost. They were both, they were supermen, you know what I mean? They could do it, So my brother moving back might have, because I like I said, I immersed myself into sports. I still did the football parties on the weekend. I'd have a drink, I'd smoke. I wasn't but it wasn't one of those things where I was doing it all week long but I definitely partied.
It was still fun.
It was fun.
It was still fun. And I think you hit on a key point too, dog, because I think about like what you said about your brother, the firstborn, I think there's a response, like they feel almost responsible, right? Because there's no other brothers at the time or there's no other siblings. dad leaves or whatever, I think there's like a certain resentment, man. Like, and it's crazy how so many people have, they all have their own little paths. They all have their own demons to fight, their own, their own situations. But yeah, man, I mean, it makes perfect sense as a young kid that those are the people that you looked up to the most, you know?
And with in that situation, like you said, with my brother, I bring it up now because they have a great relationship, my father and my brother. They're the same people. So they butt heads, like at times they can butt heads because they're literally, my brother's a junior, but they're literally, they walk, talk, look, act the same. So they do this. And at times when they get into it, my family's very close. The Lord has blessed me with my sister, all of them are still alive, thank God. Man. My brothers, my sisters, my mother, my father, they get into it. And I'll tell my sister, I'm like, it's because they're the same person. I said, but at the same time, Ray he might not, my younger brother, he holds a resentment. As a kid, you don't know how to decipher why your dad's gone.
Yep.
And a toxic thing, my mother used to talk, she was hurt. My dad cheated, disrupted her whole life, her family. So now she's hurt. Well, she would take it out that way verbally and tell us things about our father. He's a cheating 2 times, so you remember those things as a child because they stay.
Yep.
And that's one thing I don't do. Nuts. I'm going through a crazy situation with my ex, but I don't ever speak illy on their mother because I don't want them to feel like half of them or a part of them is bad. And my brother formed a resentment without knowing.
Yeah, absolutely.
To my brother, my dad's his hero as well.
Bro, you can't see a mess or you can't clean a mess if you've never seen, if you can't even see it in the first place, dog. And dude, good for you breaking generational curses one by one, dog. That's what you're doing. That's what
dope. My church is called.
Yeah,
Generations Church. Yeah, Generations
Church. That's so cool, man. I mean, it's amazing how God works, dog. Like, praying for certain things, just being around that community and being around like your fellow brothers and sisters. Like, it's so dope to see once those chains break. Like, you need something, you can pray about it. Things start changing, things start happening.
Absolutely.
And even you saying it's just a matter of time till my brother comes back. It's gonna happen.
Yeah, it's because, and that's one thing I'm huge on now is remembering that our words have power, not only to ourselves by being impeccable. That's something that Nelly from here taught me, the 4 agreements, right? Being impeccable with my word and myself.
Yeah.
So knowing that my words, your words, our words have power. That the Bible says life and death is in the power of the tongue.
Yeah.
And that's not saying I can kill you. I know I can speak things and they will be reciprocated and understood and heard. So I tell people that's why I'm on a good vibes only type
That's
path.
it.
I'm
We're
on
2 or more gathered, dog.
Period.
You know what I'm saying? And hopefully in praying that this is reaching somebody that's listening right now.
It will be.
It
will be. That's that again right there.
Yep.
I changed my vocabulary. So I no longer say, well, I hope. No. I pray and I know it will be done.
That's cool.
Period.
Man.
Because I know I was given the ultimate power. You, all of us, anybody, all people, but those who believe were given that power. I've seen it at that event I did. We'll talk about it when you get into it.
So, dude, it's a trip. Now, like, even, I want to continue the conversation and keep moving, but it's like just seeing you, from a client here to where you're at now, it's like I'm meeting you for the first time, dog.
My sister said the other day, I've always been horrible on time management. I am the.
That's the Mexican in you.
It is, but it's like, it's more on like CPT.
Yeah.
Color people time. I skip Mexican time. I'm like, the event's at 12. I was there at like 6.
Fashionably late, though.
Super fashionably late, but fashionably late. So everywhere now, not everywhere. Today I was 12 minutes late on Buddha, so I can't say everywhere. Again, everywhere. I tend to make myself more punctual now because I understand time a little more because I'm not high and I'm not worried about trying to go get high so I can go do the event. So we went to the lake this week and I'm the first person up to meet my dad to go get the boat. Like, she's like, who are you?
That's so cool.
My sister who's known me, she told me a couple months ago, like, I'm so glad to meet you again. Like, and it's awesome to see because I think as my person, I don't see it. I see it, but it's every day I live here, right?
Yeah.
But to have people come up to me like, bro, I've seen clients from here, some that are doing good and some that are doing not so good. But all of them, and I was telling my wife, I got married. The Lord is good. The Lord is good, yes.
Congrats, same ring.
Same ring, yeah. Good. Yeah, I got married, and I was telling my wife, like, because she saw one of the guys in the store. And I said, it's either way, because this is my message, is to be the light. either way, because the good people the people that I've seen that are still doing good, not the good people, because everybody has good in them. The people that I see that are doing good and on the right up, they're still sober, they're working at it, they see it.
Yeah.
Even the people that are still in the darkness, are like, bro, you look good. It's not that I'm a good looking person. It's my skin, my affect, my aura.
The light is shining through you, bro.
Right, and that's once we see the light and we receive it, it has no choice but to. You can't stop it. It's one of those things. Once, to me, and I'm not faulting anybody who's not a believer in Jesus Christ, because that's not what I do. But to me, once I felt my spiritual connection, like really, really felt it, I don't have an option anymore. It's not like I choose to or not to. Through me, it's just, it has to overflow. I have to try to give good, I have to give good back.
Yeah.
In order, for people to see, like, hey, it's possible. That guy over there, Ryan, of all people, if he can do it, that's all I tell my friends, all my pastors. I just want to be a beacon like that. Not that I'm better than anybody, because I was like, in my mind, I was the worst of the worst because I wasn't homeless, just because I still had a vehicle. That was only because of being blessed through family and having a career like I do, because I could always make money day to day.
Yeah.
I don't have to wait for a check, and I didn't. It's hard, to get fired from the barbershop, even though I would, I would still, because I would choose my attitude over.
There's a lot of toxic people in barbershops too, depending on where you're at. That's like bad, bro.
Bad. I was gonna get out. Before I came here, I put an application in for the mines. I was going to work at the mines. I was done with the barbershop industry. I just couldn't do it anymore because I knew what it entails. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? It's just, Yeah. So now I'm not saying every shop's like that. Don't get it twisted. But the shops I was choosing to put myself in, of course, because of the life I was leading, they weren't the shops that were on the complete up and up.
Yeah.
I keep it real. I sold more dope out of my barbershop at one point than I did haircuts. And we did a lot of haircuts, like a lot. It was a very busy barbershop on the east side.
Wow.
But it got known for, it was a dispensary before there was dispensaries.
Dang.
And that's not cool. I'm not going, but I'm saying, not a good way to
no, you get
it. But barbershops are, depending on, and I take that back. Any place you choose to immerse yourself in different types of atmospheres with different types of people, that's going to be your outcome. Like my shop, we were being watched. Like they set up across the street. I had people get murdered right behind the barbershop. So therefore it brought the homicide detectives that you see on First 48 into my barbershop when it reeks like weed. I mean, it was just pungent, but I was choosing to immerse myself and hang out with those types of people.
Wow.
And so I had to change people, places, and things all the way around.
Do you remember T.O.?
Yeah, I just did a podcast with T.O.
Oh, did you? Okay.
Last month, and then we were at a
get your license over him?
What's that? Yes, I did.
With the Dunbar?
Yep.
Oh, dope.
Yep, that's where I got my barber's license.
Okay.
Shout out to Martillo.
Yeah, hey, shout out to T. I don't know if you remember me, man, but I remember being at his shop when it was on Prince, I think, or Prince
Fort
and
Lowell and
Stone, maybe?
Stone, yep.
Yeah, around there. And I remember
I
was just a young kid at the time. And I went in there and I remember I was like cussing up a storm, and he was like, "You better watch your mouth. Don't be cussing in here or whatever." Yep. And now I'm like, thank God for males like that, bro, that held us accountable.
Amen.
And
and that's a big thing.
Yeah.
Because again, it's the people. Now, I was kind of a walking contradiction, because I was that guy that you came into my shops, you were still, now granted my tongue was ignorant at the time because I was ignorant. So I would make sure to watch the music, watch what we said, make sure when there's women and children, I was raised with morals and respect. So when there's women and children around, we weren't going to be cussing, but I was still slanging out the back door. You know what I mean? Had the most going on. So it wasn't that I was still that guy, but guys like T.O. or another man I know, Jeff Smith, Jazz from Fresh Cuts.
Oh, yeah, I know Jazz too. He cut my son's hair.
He was at the event we did, that T.O. did. Men like that, hey, you're not going to talk like that in here.
Yeah.
It gives you it checks you as a young man.
Man, that's beautiful. Yeah. Hey, but make sure you tell Jazz and Tio if they can check this out, because I want to spread love to both of them, man.
I definitely will.
Jazz too. Jazz, I know you might not remember me off the top, but my son Michael would go get his hair cut over there on. He was right there where Zia's used to be.
Oracle, he's still there.
Oracle, yeah, man.
Oracle,
he was always
Prince.
super cool. Such a good dude to my son, man. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And my son talks about him every now and then. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So I just want to give a huge shout out to them.
Jazz, that's a homie. I just went and saw him the other day. Yeah, he let me borrow some chairs for the back to school event we did. So.
That's awesome. All right, so let's jump back up on
Let's get
topic.
back on track. My bad.
No, it's all good, man. I know. I love it, dog. This is the best job in the world, homie. So, you said that you were into sports and things like that. At what point, like, when do you feel like things started becoming a problem, dog? Like,
It wasn't. I mean, I partied. Like I said, I partied. Got my dad. I decided to be a knucklehead. Continually. My dad was a good man. He was always at the principal's office, always at the school. I mean, always.
First name basis, the principal.
Literally, had my dad's cell phone on speed dial at one point. Like, not bragging, but so my dad and my uncle, when my uncle would come in town, they'd be at the schools. I partied. My dad, I ended up getting in trouble in my sophomore, junior year. Dad caught me with a whole bunch of liquor, 30 bottles of liquor in the room. I was saving up for a desert party we were having, and a scale. With some little bit of residue on it. It was a homie scale. So Pops, I came home. All the bottles of liquor were scattered out, poured out in front of my door. Shoot, I knew I was caught. My dad never went in my room type situation, but I used to borrow his J's. My dad so I used to go get his shoes. He went to go get them back out of my closet.
Saw all your stuff.
I had him in my football bag. So him and I get into it, me being an idiot, instead of just, what, Pops, I was wrong. Please understand and forgive me, which he would have. I decided to get like a knucklehead and raise up against him. Nah, he wasn't having that. Pops gave me a little old fashioned, whooping.
Good old fashioned passionate ass whooping.
like Eminem said. So I, instead of still humbling myself and coming to the point that I should have, no, I'm out. So I left home. I'm out of here. I went and lived with some friends, ended up getting an apartment with some friends, partying, selling coke now because I had to provide. I was either going to continue with sports or have to not do sports and to get a regular job. Well, I wanted to do sports. I was a captain of my team. I wanted to still be there. I had an oath that I promised them that I would not do, which was abandon or leave them. So I made sure I still went to school every day.
Yeah.
But I went to a school where a lot of the kids didn't know about that kind of stuff yet. This was in the 2000s. I went to Cienega, out there in Vail. There was nothing out there. So I was like, I can come to school and back then I can come to school and make $140 a day, $120 a day cash, and still go see my girlfriend and wrestle and play football and have my fun. So I started to really party more than before, just an occasional every 2 weeks type of desert party or house party, to like every night getting yacked out with my brother and my other homies. And then lived that life for off and on 2 years, a year and a half.
Okay.
And then when I was 18 years old, in November, so I still I graduated, made sure I still
got your diploma,
because I wasn't quitting. My dad taught me, like, you start something, boy, you don't quit. Yep. If you don't start it, it's never quitting. But if you start, you will finish. I wanted to quit wrestling my first year. Nope. You started it this year. You cannot wrestle next year, but you will not quit what you've already started, period. There was no option with my dad. You would not quit what you've already started. So I finished school, ended up mending things with my father, moved back into his house, through a bunch of just realizing what it's like to be out there and couch surf and hope to find somebody that would let me stay at their crib. I had my own apartment for a while with a friend, and then that broke up, whatever. So Pops let me come back once I was able to humble myself and ask for forgiveness and let him know how sorry I was for my transgressions to him. Got me a motorcycle. Was doing good, working. And then like 6 months after high school, I got hit by a drunk driver on my motorcycle.
Oh, man.
And received an amputation to my left leg due to the accident.
Oh, wow.
So in that
was 6 months after high school.
That was November. I graduated in May. That happened in November.
Wow.
Yeah, 18 years is coming up. It seems like it's been 100 years, but so through that, I've always had an addictive personality, right? Because if I drank a beer, I like to get drunk. Mm-hmm. If I smoked weed, I love to get super high. If I was to do some coke, I like to get, so I always had that in me. which I believe partially is inherited. Like both my parents have this tendency, generational curse to use whatever supplement they can get their hands on. So, and having major operations, and even then, I got off the pills. I was in a coma for like 10 days. Got out of the hospital almost a month later, and had my sister, who's like, she was like my rock. My sister's been almost my rock. Had her make sure I don't get too crazy on these. So I'll take them away as soon as we can. Like let's start to wean off. So I got off of them like a month and a half after being home.
Like the oxys and stuff?
Oxycodone. That's back when, I was getting oxycodones. The 30s.
What year did that happen?
05.
In 05.
Yeah, November of 05.
That's nuts. You were on your motorcycle when you got hit by a drunk driver.
Yeah, I was.
Where were you?
Right here on Kolb, in between Speedway and Broadway, across the street from the Cheap Seat movie theater.
Wow,
right
dude.
there in that crosswalk.
Thank God you're alive, man. That's crazy. I didn't realize it was a motorcycle.
Yeah, I was doing it was young, dumb, and full of you know what.
Yeah,
doing the TPD's accident reconstructionist has me at 99 to 109, and the man who hit me, the lawyer's reconstruction team has me at 107 to 147. I know I was moving. I was mad. I was fighting with my ex at the time. My girlfriend, my high school sweetheart, whatever you want to call her, the chick I was with in high school. Got into an argument. I'm taking off like a bat out of hell. Wow. So yeah, I got hit. I got struck right there on where Tony Roma's used to be. Now it's Guadalajara.
Okay.
Right there.
Damn, man. All right. So, you went to the hospital. You were in a coma for 10 days. You got prescribed oxycodone. Your sister was helping you with that for a little bit?
Yeah. So like I said, I got off of it and stayed good. Never had no inkling to want them. And then working out with a buddy of mine, good friend of mine, he's now a nutritionist, my boy Desi. Working out, we used to work out twice a day. And we go to walk into the gym, and I take a step, and I'm like, ooh, that wasn't right. And he's like, hey, you better not be trying to punk out right now. We're doing the second workout. And I'm like, he was my best friend. I said, Desi, I'm telling you right now something's wrong. He's like, come on, don't. We played football. So he's like, don't you start. We're not doing that. We're getting this workout done. I said, okay, we'll do this workout. If and when we go to the hospital and we figure out something's wrong, you're going to have to take care of me. Because I'm telling you, something just happened. We do the workout. I hop around like a freaking ball. So over there hopping around, do the workout, go to the ER later that night. Femur was broken, but I have a rod in my femur. So the rod was keeping my leg together, but where my femur broke, because it was crushed for 6 inches. So when they put it back together, they just pieced it and rodded it. The piece never healed. So it was a non-union all this time, and it really fractured.
Wow. And
the rod kept it. So I went back in to have another femur operation, and that happened 2 more times that I had to have throughout the processing of continually going back for operations, because I had 8 operations my first 7 days of being in the hospital. I was in a coma, but it was all taken care of. So it was able for me just to get off, right? When I had to keep going back in, I developed a dependency. And at that time I was partying. I was living on my own. I was moving weight. My brother and I, my older brother, the one that's never been addicted, him and I were transporting marijuana across the country, and I was living a whole nother lifestyle so in that, okay, well, one of my roommates was already addicted. We didn't know, but he was already addicted to OxyContin. So we start partying one night, just drinking, and he's like, hey, take one of these real quick, but do it like I do it. Breaks out his old hose clamp. I don't know if you're ever familiar with the old school OxyContins. You used to suck the film off, and you would hose clamp it. And that was
really?
Like a cheese grater. You get a hose clamp, straighten it out, and you cheese grated it. And it made it real fine. So he crushes me up an Oxy 20 that I sold him because I used to get my script, and that was my income. So he crushes up, and that was the first time feeling I felt it in the hospital, but it was to really cover my pain. I had just had my legs severed. I had road rash over 60% of my body.
Man.
So then it was just to take care of my pain. At this point, it was to get high because I was doing it to party. And once I felt that first high of like, whoa,
Yeah.
Like I nod out and like everything just, I tell people pain never took my pain away. It just took my head away. The pain pills, excuse me. Any opiate, it's never taken the pain away from what I have. It just takes my mind off of the pain, right? It doesn't take away pain. It's impossible. If my leg was severed, I couldn't take that away.
Yeah.
It gets my mind in another world.
Yeah.
So once I felt that, I was like, whoa.
Wow.
And then that's when it started. That was after my 4th femur operation, living a lifestyle that I was living.
And all of these operations were due to that initial accident.
Yes.
Do you feel like the amputation affected any type of a depression or anything like that in you that you hadn't had before? Especially being so into sports, football, and all those.
One thing about me, I thank God, I've always had a positive mindset.
Yeah.
And I will not be defeated mindset. So therefore, it was like it sucks, but my attitude almost right out the gate was can't cry over spilt milk.
Okay.
It's spilt.
Yeah.
I can't clean it up now. It's off. The leg's gone. Now I got to learn how to move forward. It's not, that happens. I can't change it. So, and that's just how I live.
Yeah.
Other people can, because I see how people can get stuck in depression so I had to make sure to continue to, because I was still into sports and wrestling and lifting weights, I attacked it with that mindset. Like, okay, you're not going to hold me, Adam Montijo, you're not going to hold me down.
Shout out to Adam, man.
You're not going to hold me down. So I approached it with that mindset. Like, oh, the doctor says it's going to take me 3 months to walk. We'll see you in a month, doc.
Okay.
And they were like, yeah, right. I was back there in a month on my prosthetics. So that's how I approached it. And I still live my life like that. And I thank God because my body has been dismembered in a spot.
Yeah.
That my mentals were strong enough to carry it. Because it's, there's times I struggle. When I was here last time, I had a sore on my leg. I couldn't wear my leg for 5 days here. I was in a wheelchair. In that time, I was like,
it sucks.
Because it's just one of the, so I try not to allow myself to get in that, because it's a rabbit hole, depression. But it starts with a thought, right? A negative thought that we perseverate and dwell on, and we allow it to take us there. So now I rebuke it in the name, bro.
There you go. That's what's up, man. No, that's dope. I think that's a great way to think. It is easy to get caught up in that, that cycle of depression, but if you have that mentality, like things happen for a reason, I'm going to keep it pushing. It's not like you stopped working out. You just kept, a little bit more upper body than usual, but we going to grind it out. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's cool, man. So, okay. So you said that you started developing this dependency to the medications. Yeah. And then when you initially snorted that oxy, was like, oh, it just took you in a whole different world. Whew. And this is when you didn't have to worry about the oxys being like fentanyl.
Well, there was no such thing back then. Yeah, this was probably so my first son was born in 2009. This was 2007. Okay. 2007. Okay. 2007, 2008, that time period where there was no fake anything out there at all. Like, I didn't hear about a fake pill until like 2010 or 11. It was just a pressed, nothing in it pill. There was somebody bought a press, a chick I know bought a press and got somebody else, but there was nothing in it. Yeah. So fentanyl obviously didn't come out 2 years later, but for us.
That's nuts.
That's when I stopped selling my scripts and started using my scripts.
Oh, okay. There you go.
That's where that was my income, like I said. So that's when I really noticed it. I was pushing dope, bro. My brother and I were linked in. We were doing the dumbest things by transporting marijuana across the nation. He got caught up, and in that process is when I really started to downwork. And my brother got cut. We got busted. We got popped on I-10. He's got 300.
Are you an adrenaline junkie?
Yeah.
I can see that. So you probably like the thrill of moving that shit across too, and like not getting caught up. It was all of that.
You know how it is when you're playing the cops and robber, trying to stay one step ahead of them, and being introduced to that lifestyle and the money and the power you feel when you have money. Like I said, my brother was my driver, so he was really the one that was taking the risk. He's always been, he's the real adrenaline junkie. Me, I was like,
you were the muscle.
I was kind of like the for this time. He's usually not, but I was like, all right, well, you want to work. You're not. I have this opportunity where you can make a lot of money. Yeah, just driving a truck actually, but you'll make a lot of money. So we did it stupidly, and we got popped. Due to people you think you love are usually the ones that in some situations, I thank God my family is so tight knit. But the man I was raised, grew up with as a friend of my dad's, I thought he was really my dude. That was my Theo. I can't prove it to this day, but we got set up.
Crazy.
Sold down the river. So we got caught. My brother went away. That was, like I told you, that was my superhero. In times that I had nobody, my brother was that superhero for me. So when he went away, it was like my best friend was gone.
Yeah.
I just had my first son, Maximus. And
were you married at the time?
No, sir. I was just with she was a friend of mine who we ended up being, more than friends. And we tried it out. I was young and stupid and getting addicted and didn't know it.
Yeah.
Truly addicted to where I was dependent every day, every night. If I didn't have my pills, I was now a jerk and withdrawing. So that relationship obviously soured, but my brother being gone was another one of those I traced back to my childhood. Like, there goes what I know, my comfort. My brother and I, we've always battled everything together. So I just dived deeper into the addiction. I wasn't selling dope anymore. I wasn't moving anything anymore. I was going to barber college. Went to barber college just because the judge told me, my lawyer actually told me, you better find something to do. You're not working. You have all these things. How do you pay your rent? How do you have a car? You have a brand new Jaguar almost. Like, they didn't know I got that out of a settlement, a small settlement that I got from missing my leg. But then I turned and used some of that to put into dope money, right? So I got a job bouncing and went to barber college.
Wow. Okay. Man, it's already, we're not even all the way through. Yeah, we still got some more to go. So tell us a little bit about what happened after that, man. Like, you just continue to get deeper in it.
I just, it was one of those things where I didn't realize my world was crashing, and it was not even really fully stopping and thinking about what I was. Obviously we don't, right? That's how addiction forms. Nobody's like, oh, I want to be an addict when I grow up. It just slowly, my mind wasn't battling properly with what was going on around me. My brother going to prison, me having the stresses of a new child, now taking on having a job I never really had. I mean, I had little jobs in high school, but now I'm trying to have a job and work and not do things illegally.
Yeah.
And it was just the stresses and not knowing how to cope. What I turned to, oh yeah, remember that thing that made you feel good a couple months ago when you're at your house? So it just went to the form of what I call like my true addiction, like to where I depended on it night, day, every minute of every day. That's when it started.
At this point in your life, you're trying to figure out what you're going to be doing. I know you said that you started developing this codependency. What ended up happening? You said that you weren't married at the time. You just had your kids.
So her and I, like I said, I was young. She was 18 or 19. I was 21, getting wrapped in my addiction. So that relationship, it had spoiled. I let it rot. Was still in my son's life. Had my son 1 week. She had him 1 week. Great friends still. Had a great relationship with my son. And the addiction then, I was fighting still. I was fighting. I would get like intermittent sobriety.
Okay. Intermittent sobriety.
I'd have a month here or 2 weeks there, and then thank you, boss. And my brother was still in prison.
Okay.
He got out. I had my son. Everything was going good. I was working. I now had my barber's license. I was in a shop. I was doing well. Got on some Suboxone. Was fighting the fight and got with an ex. That's how we met. That's back when I could still buy scripts, and I was buying scripts and selling them, and we met toxically. So that explains why our whole relationship was toxic, and it wasn't good from the beginning.
So there's a phrase, I want to know if you agree with this. The enemy comes in many, many forms.
All forms.
And sometimes it's
Jezebel's.
It's almost flattering in a sense that he goes through so much work to try and knock you off, right?
It's a point that I was listening to a gentleman the other day, and he said, people wonder why you're attacked so hard, because just as hard as the enemy wants you, God wants you. So you're gonna be attacked, and especially when you answer the call to one of them.
Yeah,
which either one you decide to answer, like, you are gonna get attacked. And with men, you think the enemy's not stupid? The enemy's he's the most conniving manipulator there is.
Yeah.
I'll send this pretty woman, or just a woman, period. You know what I mean? I'll send this woman or this drug or whatever it is to rip you off of what God has intended for you.
Yeah.
And in that form, I can't blame her for my addiction, right? Because I can't blame anybody for what I did. I just wasn't smart enough to see how these toxic situations were not good for me because I didn't know how to cope at the time.
Yeah.
So my coping mechanism was, I'll just get high and I won't have to hear that. I wanted to, not everything just was away. And I was doing well, quote unquote. I was still working, but having a dependency along with a toxic relationship went hand in hand into nothing but toxicity. And
so is she did she help you get deeper into that addiction?
I wouldn't say help, but I wouldn't say hurt and stopped either.
Yeah.
At one point it was, I don't want you using, and then it came to a point she had some surgeries herself, some brain operations, and me trying to be a loving partner was like, well, and this was when the real ones were still out here, like, this will help. You just had a craniotomy, like your brain was ripped up. I'm trying to help. And she was already using, you know what I mean? It's just, then it was okay for us to use.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Once she was involved, it was okay. Before then, it was like, you need to not do that, da-da-da. But she would still sell pills.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So it wasn't like I had a partner at the time that was trying to make me better.
Yeah. All right. And so when did you when did like the fentanyl and all that stuff start coming into play?
Fentanyl came into play. I'd say, what are we in? We're in 2000, and my youngest son was born in 2016. So about 2017, 2018, I'd say.
Okay. So everything was pretty much the same up until the point where you started using the fentanyl?
I was able to keep a little more regulated balance on it, because back in the day, I don't know how you hear stories. Of course, I don't know your past. One thing I've never, the pills were hard to get because only so many people were getting scripts.
Yeah. So
therefore, once we all everybody I knew ran out of scripts, we were now out. Like, you had to really rat race to find your high because not everybody got them.
Yeah.
When the fentanyl hit, at first I was that guy. I would not do them. I was against it. One of my big homies was like, "Bro, I get them for you for nothing. Like, I'll here." I think he gave me like 100 of them back in the day, and I'm like, "Nope,
Dang.
Don't want them. Don't want them." And this was when they first hit, so you had already heard about people overdosing, and I was like, "Nah, I'm good. I stayed on the real ones for probably another 6 months, three to 6 months, and then it became, the real ones were so expensive, $30 a pop for a 30. I'm like, I'll try this $4 pill over here. Okay. And
did you ever do heroin?
I didn't do heroin until probably a month before I came here, so 10 months ago.
Okay.
And I used to have friends be like, "Well, you're not on heroin, bro. An addict is an addict."
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't care if you're using heroin or I was getting my prescription, which is why I became so easily addicted, I think, because it was like, well, I'm not. It's my doctor. My doctor's giving me the medicine.
Yeah, of course. Your doctor has your best, interest.
Oh, he went to school for all these years, and they care, and they want me to be helped and healed. So it was like, I'm taking my medicine.
Yeah. Just
like a diabetic would take their insulin, I'm taking my medicine. I have pain, and I'm taking my pain medicine. Man. So it almost made it
crazy
harder for me in a sense, because it was like socially acceptable. Brian has his pill bottle on him in the beginning, back in the day. It was like, oh, he has his medicine on him.
Yeah, he's under the supervision of a clinical professional.
Very, very thought out and well-trained clinical professional, right?
Yeah. And
that's when all the pill mills were going on. So once those pill mills and the doctors were all getting popped, and a guy like me who has an amputation, and I have a 12-inch rod up my femur, my hips placed in, screwed in, I couldn't even get medicine because I was a young dude. I looked the way I do, and they thought, oh, he's just a med seeker, which I was. But at the time, I was med seeking to sell.
Yeah.
I wasn't even using at this point in my life, a little bit here and there, but nothing crazy. And then, that thought process became like, oh, it's legal. It's I'm being prescribed it, which is, so it wasn't heroin, whatever drug to me. I used to tell my buddy, he's like, well, I'm worse because I'm a piece of crap because I smoke heroin. You do, bro, we're both addicted.
Yeah.
We're both stuck here having withdrawals right now because neither one of us has our drug.
Yeah.
So it doesn't make you, he used to tell me, I'm worse than you. Like, in a sense, like, I'm a piece of crap more than you. I'm like, no, we're both pieces of crap, bro. We're both.
Or you have the ones that are like, bro, like, I can't believe you inject that. Like, I only smoke
I
it.
smoke it. And I had an alcoholic tell me one time, well, I'm not as bad as you. I said, do you wake up every day and need a drink? In order for your mood to change, do you need a drink? In order not to have the shakes or not to crap yourself, do you need a drink? He said, yeah. I said, you're just as bad as me. And that's not, I wasn't putting him down. It was me trying to refocus. Like, bro, there's no, it was here. It was at ARC. There's nobody better. If we're all here for help.
Yeah.
I don't care what you're addicted to. That wasn't my concern. When I was, I did my little mentor thing here. I don't care. Not that I don't care. It doesn't differentiate.
Yeah.
An addict is an addict is an addict is an addict. We have to break those cycles of, like you said, generational curses, our thought process, and our actions. Like, we're all have, I'd say 98% of us have the same thought processing, and the way that we start to not know how to cope with things, the way that we, our minds work. That's why I believe it's a disease.
Yeah.
Because it's the way the mind is working and the way that our body functions that allows us to, I need that. It's okay.
Mm-hmm.
It's not.
It's also part of the culture. I mean, we're in a culture where, the magic pill is like the forget the hard work. We got a pill to make everything go away type of mentality. So I think it's gotten worse. You know what I'm saying?
It's only going to get worse. They call us generation, you and I might be right on the cusp of what they call generation RX. Think about it. When I was a kid, I was telling my therapist recently, I talked to a friend of mine. She goes to our church, but I'm also in therapy with her. As a young kid, I was given Adderall, right? Because he won't sit still. He's energetic. Well, that was because it was so easy. Here, take this pill, and basically shut up or go away. Or granted, that wasn't my mom was looking at. She was probably trying to help me with my behavior in school. Had it been redirect that energy, redirect that, but don't give them a stimulant. I told my mom, I wasn't blaming her by any means.
Yeah. I
just said, Mom, because my mom battles. She's been sober now for almost a year. God bless her.
Shout out.
Shout out, Mama. I was saying, Mom, like, I've had stimulants and drugs in my system off and on my whole life, like Adderall, and then it was smoking weed and having, it was always something that I needed, right? Even though I didn't feel like I needed Adderall, I didn't want the Adderall, but chemically, your body becomes dependent on those things.
It's crazy.
Addiction can form in coffee.
Yeah,
Addiction can form once your body becomes chemically dependent on anything.
Dude, I used to wake up 2 hours, about an hour before I even had to wake up and take my Adderall. That way, when my alarm went off, I at least could get up out of the bed. Dog.
Yeah.
That's bad, man.
And it's, unfortunately for us, you were a kid. We're like you said, what we say about my pain meds. We look to a medical professional and our parents. And it wasn't your mom's fault. It wasn't my mom's fault. They were just trying to get their wild child under control.
Calm the hell down and do your homework.
Do your homework, kid. Don't be bouncing off the walls. So it wasn't her fault, but it was one of those things. I'm like, this, especially Western medicine. It's like, here. Oh, Buddha, you need to lose weight? Don't go work out. That's stupid. Don't eat right. Go take this pill.
Yeah, that's
Buddha, you can't pay attention? Oh, here's an Adderall. Oh, Buddha, you're having anxiety? Here's a Xanax.
Yeah.
Instead of, let's get to the root of the problem. Let's figure out why you're having those issues, because then, but they don't want to heal.
Yeah.
Because if they heal you, don't come back to them.
I think it goes back to the same thing that you talked about with the triggers, bro. Like, not to be disrespectful to anyone out there who may think, I know triggers are big things, but it's also like, okay, so money's a trigger. You telling me you don't want to work no more? Like, money, I'll take that shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, you got to get money. You got to be able to be in the storm, but also not let it take you away.
Amen.
You know what I'm saying?
Amen. You can't let that define you. And it's one of those situations where I'm not downplaying anybody's thought process on a trigger. One thing, a wise man, shout out to my pastor Scotty, he says, what you give your attention, what you lend your ear to has your attention. So if I'm constantly saying, oh, that's a trigger, that's a trigger, that's a trigger, that's a trigger, guess what I'm going to do? Eventually I'm going to relapse, because I keep telling myself, these are all triggers. These are all triggers. Life's a trigger. Guess what? Life is a trigger.
Yeah.
If you live a normal life and you have, even if you don't have children, if you're just a single adult, male or female, life's going to have triggers. Bills are going to come. Your car's going to break down. That person's not going to like you. That person's going to, We have triggers.
Bro, just log into Facebook once a day. That's it.
You'll see you'll see it. You'll see.
That's crazy.
So it's me not putting weight to them. Yeah, they're there, right? My mind is my mind. I don't say can't because that's a bad word. We take that out of our vocabulary. It's harder for me to redevelop the mind than to just give into what I know, right? Well, that's my trigger. So what do I do then? I use. If that's the thought process I'm going to have, I'm going to still be an addict. And so it's a trigger. But guess what? Now I have to first I've learned and then apply. One of the smartest things I've ever heard in recovery by a man named John Bacon. Shout out to John Bacon.
Had him on the podcast.
Did you?
Yes.
That's my boy Bacon right there.
Shout out to John, man. Yeah,
That's
bro.
my
You got to
boy
check
right
that one
there.
out. You got to check that one. Have you heard his podcast?
Yeah.
Okay.
The Bacon Bits.
Yeah.
So he told me one of the smartest things I've ever heard in recovery. Valuable information is just valuable information. I can teach you all this all day long, but until we apply it, it's only valuable information. But valuable information applied equals our success. When we actually apply what we've learned and truly apply it. I came to ARC in 2020. I got kicked out for being a knucklehead. I was cutting hair and got caught with a phone.
I remember. Oh, man, that's funny.
Me and my roommate, Kevin, shout out to Kevin. We got kicked out, and he's still doing good. He's sober years later. And it was...
That's funny.
We ordered a pizza, bro.
That's nuts, man.
We ordered a pizza from our room, bro.
I'm over here thinking, I'm like, was I the one that found the phone? Like, damn,
it
bro.
Was, what's the lady that works here? Her daughter's a VHT. She's a high up. She drives a black truck.
Oh, okay.
Her
all right.
daughter,
Yeah,
and I can't think of the other dude's name. He's a white boy. He was a VHT. He does the driving now. I think he golfs and whatnot. They found it, and yeah, we got called up to the Stephanie was here at the time. We got called up, so it was.
I remember that.
It's funny now when I look back on it, but it's those thought processes that got me to when I got out of here. First thing, Kevin, we got kicked out. First thing, he had some Xanax in it, his prescription. First thing we did, I used it in the bathroom up here. Went and crushed up a Xanny, and I didn't apply any of what I just learned.
Yeah.
I didn't apply any of them, and I put my heart into it that time. I truly was, I wanted to do this, but I wanted to do it for my kids at the time. I have to do this for them. What I've learned now is it sounds so cliche, but one thing my therapist, Tara, shout out to Tara, she's a dope soul. She said, people say it's cliche, but do we know why they say it? Because it's always true.
Yeah.
Or 99% of the times. So therefore, that's why they say cliche. I had to learn to love Ryan again and do it for Ryan. Because I always try to do it for my kids. I got 6 beautiful children. It was always, I'm going to do it for them. I got it. That didn't keep me sober. Because when those waves started to rock the boat, I'm looking... Instead of staying on the boat and getting the water, I'm trying to jump off because that's what I know, right? That was my coping. Just get off. Now I do it for me because they will benefit for the self-love that I have. And I didn't have it for a long, long time.
That's good, man. And that was one thing I wanted to ask you is because I know you hadn't said much about your kids and stuff, but like, did you have like a solid relationship with your babies this whole time? And then I also noticed like we haven't even gone into any of like the criminal history. Did you get arrested or anything like that?
Yeah. Like I said, me and my brother got arrested back in 2008. Yeah, it was bad. We got arrested. My brother, like I said, he went to prison. He took it on the chin for me.
Okay.
My brother, I call him Warrior. That's his name to me. His name's Ray. He took it on the chin. He could have cut a deal somehow, some way, and he didn't. He took it on the chin. Wouldn't let me. You're not saying. I was never going to say other than he's working with me for me type situation. Like make it look like nope. He took it on the chin. He served 2.5 for it. With the grace of God, have never been to prison. Been caught up a whole bunch of times. The Lord has. I've been to Pima County here and there. A couple days here, a couple days there. Got into once he was in prison. Like I said, I tried staying on the straight and narrow. A couple years later, he got out. I started doing the pollos and making money that way. Had some friends get locked up for driving for me, but the Lord, for whatever reason, blessed me for not having a number because he knows not only should I be dead, but if not dead, I should definitely be doing a long time in prison just because being an idiot, you know.
Yeah.
The Lord, I had a DUI that happened right during COVID that never got brought back up. I don't look at it like, wow, I escaped the justice system. I looked at it like, wow, Lord, you were good to me.
Yeah.
Even when I wasn't good to you. So that never got brought, but I could have hit somebody and killed somebody.
Yeah,
I could have done what put me in a position to become addicted. I could have put somebody else in that position.
Yeah, man.
And that's
so
a hard,
powerful.
hard pill to swallow. When I look at, like, I tell people, I feel like I make it look easy being an amputee and those people have it way worse than me. So that's how I have an outlook that I have. But I still go through stuff. And with that being said, it's like more so of what I could have done to somebody else. You know, I could have, the day I got arrested and went to Pima County Jail last time, cops said I almost hit a family in a minivan. Now, of course, at the time, I'm not thinking about none of that. I'm thinking about getting high. You know, I'm not thinking about none of that. But now that I've been able to clear my mind and allow some time to, like, I could have done to somebody else, or worse, what was done to me. And that's a hard pill to swallow, to know that, like, Ryan, me and my brothers used to fight dudes for drunk driving. I'm talking, we'd pull them out of the car, and sometimes out of love, we'd try to talk you out of it. But if you were so drunk, we're gonna throw you on the ground, bro, because you might get a black eye or whatever, but you're gonna be alive tomorrow. Or somebody else, better yet, the mom that's driving home from her night shift at the hospital is gonna be alive because we didn't let you drive. Yeah, I became that guy that would use my pill. Well, it was from my doctor, so it's okay that I'm feeling a little heavy-eyed, and I shouldn't be operating a motor vehicle. Yep. I shouldn't have been. So therefore, I became the guy that I hated. The man that, you know, almost took my life. I became that guy. And thank God, by the blessings and just a hedge of protection for whatever reason, for my mental state or somebody else's well-being, the Lord, it didn't happen. Man. I don't know how I'd live with myself. I don't think I would be able to, especially if I hurt somebody else. Like, hurting myself, you did that to yourself, bro. But hurting somebody else, that's a tough one. So I thank God that I never did. But the cop told my family he almost hit a minivan that had like 4 or 5 people in it. Oh, how scary! And I was so out of it. I don't remember. They pulled up at Casino del Sol. They pull up. I'm in my car. They're trying to talk to me. I'm out of it. Out. Like, I'm in and out of it. I was driving like that, man. And that's what addiction does to us. That's what the power of it is. I used to literally fight dudes for this. And now I am the dude that I used to beat up or have beat up because of what I'm choosing to do. Yeah. That's nuts, man. I mean, it's full circle. I could tell by the way you're talking. It's like, it really is. It's like a different person. It's beautiful to see, man. It really, really is, dude. You know, I want to, when you were using, I know you said that you had started doing like the fentanyl. How did you get to 100 and some pills a day? Even when I would take the real ones, I had a super high tolerance. I was that guy that people were like, what? There's no way you're calling me back for more, bro. Yeah. Wasn't proud of it because it was costing me money and making me less demoralized as I went. It's one of those things. I don't think we ever, right? One drink will just be one drink. Yeah. One pill will just be one pill. 6 months later, I'm doing 100 pills a day. If I had money, I was doing more. If I had enough money to make
real.
Oh yeah, I think the most I've done in a day is like 180 in a 24-hour span. And I don't say that by glorifying it. It's absolutely, that's when I came here. I used to tell people, like, I'm the worst of the worst, and I don't say that proudly. I say that to know that, and especially now where I'm sitting, and the fact that I don't boast, but to boast in the Lord. The Lord has brought me out of shackles and chains that I never
absolutely
thought that I'd get out of. So it's like, if I can do it, I promise you can do it. That's a message to anybody that's listening. This is from my heart to your ears. If I can do it, I promise you, if you place your faith in whatever you place your faith, and I won't tell you where to place your faith. That's not my job. My job is to tell you to get some faith, even if it's in yourself and not a God. Some people don't believe in God. That's fine. Yeah. Let's start with recovery for that. For that, just have some faith in yourself or a higher power, and really start to dive into it, because if I can do it, I promise you anybody else can do it. Amen. Amen. And yeah, no, this is no way to glorify it. No. What I think when I hear 180 pills a day is your detox must have been fucking miserable. It was. I tell people I usually detox for months, and it's not like I'm not taking anything away from the people that are like, oh, I was doing 20 a day and I just had a horrible detox. Yeah, I know. I know. You can't tell me nothing I don't know, bro. Yeah. And my brother that's still lost, he used to be like, you can't do that many pills. Yeah, right. And we started getting high together. I relapsed. we were both living in my brother's garage, getting sober. My brother Ray had gotten back into church, or not gotten back into. He actually kind of found the Lord for his first. I found the Lord when I was young, definitely through my accident. I really found the Lord, which is my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. I mean, make that known, because there's so many different lords and gods these days. I have one God, one Lord. When I started, so my brother, he found the Lord, and he was trying to keep us on the straight and narrow, stay in my garage, keep your crap together. We started using behind everybody's back, and him and I were talking about it, and he's like, there's no way you do that many. You're a liar. I'm like, you think I'm glorifying this, bro? Like, it's actually disgusting. We started using behind everybody's backs, and one day he's like, bro, he's crying. He's fully addicted at the time too. He's doing blues with me. He starts crying, and he's like, dude, you're going to kill yourself. I don't know anybody that does that many pills, and you're still functional. 95 at this point in my life, I got so tolerant that I wouldn't even nod out anymore most of the time. Like,
damn,
it wouldn't. It's sad, and that just goes to show. At one point, when I told you when I first started, 120 milligram oxycodone had me nodded for the entire night. I was nodded. I was on a good, what I used to call a good one. I was on a good one. Years later, 100 to 150, 180, my most. Like I said, my average was 1 to 150. Wouldn't do anything. I mean, it would do something, obviously, but I wasn't getting the same effect. I wasn't getting the euphoria that I was chasing. That's why they say you're chasing it.
And it's crazy too, because I mean, you hear stories about, like, I've heard people say, like, there was a police officer that found a little bit of fentanyl. He just opened the bag, and that little bit like took him out, type of thing.
You could watch videos on YouTube. But just in hit, that's being 4 feet away from, 3 feet away from some of these arm's reach. Yeah. And it just, the powder dust goes in the air and boom.
Yeah. But you know what, to me, I just think, to be able to have that high of a tolerance, I mean, from 180 to 0 in a detox, bro, like, do you have, like, let's start going into like the recovery thing a little bit. Like, your detox, do you have seizures? Did you have all of that type of stuff happening to you?
Thank God I never had seizures, but I had a hell of a detox. And the craziest part about it, I looked at myself and it wasn't until recently that the definition of insanity was actually changed. And I think it has a lot to do with recovery, right? It's making the same decision, expecting a different outcome. I was literally insane. I was expecting something different, and the tolerance just built and built. And so when I got detoxed, it was a hell of a process, because I was going through not only the physical, but I had let's just say this. How do I go about saying this? I had a hit put on my life from...
What's going on, guys? I'm so sorry to have to do it to you, but we're going to have to stop this episode right here. Thank you guys so much for listening, and make sure you tune in next week for part 2 of this week's episode. Hope you guys have an amazing weekend. Much love. God bless. Peace. What's going on, everybody? This is Buddha from the Arcast, and I just wanted to thank you for checking out this week's episode. It means a lot, and if you could share it with a friend or a loved one, somebody you need in recovery, or maybe somebody who just needs that little bit of extra positivity in their life, we'd greatly appreciate it. If you would like to join us here on the Arcast, either in the studio live or online, hit us up. The links are down in the show notes of this episode, and on there, you can find direct links to our main website here at Americas Rehab Campus and all of our social media platforms. Follow us. We keep the posts positive and motivational, focused on recovery, health, and wellness. As you know, in this modern day and age, we need as much love as possible, y'all. And as always, if you or somebody you know is in need of substance abuse treatment, please don't hesitate to give us a call. We're open 24 hours a day, and our direct phone number is 1-833-272-7342. Once again, that phone number is 1-833-272-7342. I hope you all have a beautiful rest of your day. Much love and God bless. Peace.